Damn, D&D and squats. And that's how we're starting the episode, baby.
And squats are cool too, baby.
We're back. Children of the Beast.
We can coexist.
Oh, we're back. Children of the Beast, episode 23? Shit, I don't know, dog. I don't know. Wait, let me... Fuck.
I think so, because I was listening to us from last week, and that was 22. But that was in 22? The can, so this must be 24.
Okay, so we're back in this episode 24, Children of the Beast. Hello, welcome back. Me, your host, Andrew. Carlos, your other host. How are you doing, brother?
Doing great. Yeah. Doing, in the words of the great Larry David, pretty good. Pretty good.
I feel that. I feel this. I relate to this. It did make me laugh that you did have to hang prior to this podcast recording, like a bat.
Yes. I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Please explain that for the people at home.
Yeah.
And myself.
So let's go back. I got to take everybody back because now I got to talk about it because I thought about it later. And then now that some time has gone by, I reflected upon some things and I got some things. So the first one. So for everybody, I did get the coronavirus. That's what did happen. That's why we did miss a week. It was bad because of my son's situation with the leukemia and everything. But you'd all be happy to know I have since had 2 negative tests. None of my family were infected. Michael never got it. I didn't spread it to anybody else. And that's all behind me. Well, around that time, I had been working a lot. And going back to your first question, how am I doing? I'm back, baby. I'm back. The corona made me see the light in so many fucking ways. The last 2 weeks have been fucking the best 2 weeks I've had in 2 years.
Wow, really? That's
because
incredible.
all of last year was so hard.
Yeah, totally.
Last year started with Mikey's diagnosis on the first of the year. No shit, right?
Yeah, literally the first of the year.
Right. Then right around the time the corona hit, my coworker gets colon cancer. And he spends 2 months in the hospital, has surgery, almost fucking dies. That colon cancer kind of cost him just financial turmoil to the point that he couldn't pay his rent. So he moved out of state with some family members that he has in Pennsylvania. He's actually doing great. So it turned out to be a really good thing for him, but he's away from his kids. So it was a difficult situation.
Yeah.
That was by then we're only in the middle of the summer and that's already been my year. The world's still in lockdown. I'm like, we should get back to normal soon. And then I had to take on his workload, which is the only part of what I do for a living that I don't know. So, and I have people on their contract already. So right. I essentially at some point last year would not have been able to provide the services of repair that I sold contracts for. Yeah. And these are some big business, ladies and gentlemen. So, but thankfully, as always, your boy came on top after the corona and the sweating, and the fucking chills. I've been figuring everything out the last 2 weeks, baby. I'd say I'm about 90% to where I need to be able to do everything. And I fucking booked a new customer this last week. They already paid me. So the year is starting out fucking good, I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah. And it frees me up in overhead for a lot of it because now I can manage it myself. And so, it's been good. It's been good. And my family's doing good. This is the second weekend. Last night, our brother Ricky came over because it was his lovely fiance Danica's birthday. Shout out to the Ranicas. The Ranicus.
No, just shout out to Ms. D, not him. He sucks.
Yeah, shout out to Ms. D and the Ranicus for coming over last night. Yeah, so we had a really nice time. And it was the second week in a row that people came over. I forget. I think last weekend nobody came over, but it was the first weekend that we had an Alberta weekend, which basically an Alberta weekend, as you well know, is you wake up in the morning on Saturday, you get some kind of exercise, you do something around the house, and then you start nipping. And you start cooking, and you start nipping, and now you're eating. And then
you're dancing throughout.
On a Saturday, there's the UFC. Oh, tremendous.
Yeah.
So yesterday the order was reversed a little bit. I woke up in the morning.
UFC in the morning.
Beautiful, dude. So I went to play tennis with Ricky at 7 a.m.
Great.
And this son of a bitch, he tried to get stupid on me. Try to get stupid on me. And first of all, I was creaking and cracking, right? Like the Tin Man, because I've been hitting it hard at the gym. As you can tell.
Old.
Well, no, with this shirt and this background. But my shoulders look massive. You can't see with the contrast. But we'll get past that. And so I get to the tennis courts. We start fucking playing. Next thing I know, this son of a bitch got me 5-3. Now, he never wins sets. Not very often. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's like 6'1", 6'2", maybe 6'3". Not this time. This motherfucker had me 5'3", and I'm trying, and my shoulders is hurting, and I can't serve. And at some point, I was just like, well, fuck it. All I'm gonna do for the rest of all of this is, no matter what and how bad I lose, I'm gonna serve as hard as I can. Next thing you know, your boy serve arrived. And I flipped it around and went from 5'3" to 7'5".
Wow.
I won 4 straight fucking games. I came back on the fourth, and then it was my serve, skunked him off of the serve, baby. He's looking at me like all of a sudden I started serving. So I big brothered him. I think I got in his head because he had me. He had me. I'm telling you. I am telling you, he had me. But it was brutal. I mean, we played fucking like some Greek ass fucking children. It was insane. So to the point that normally we played 2 sets.
Yeah.
Yesterday we played that 1 set, and we're both like, "Are you good?"
I'm good.
Like, I'm good, dude. I'm so sore, but it's great.
You know what's funny? This morning at bowling, he was telling me about how sore he was, and I didn't ask him what it was, but it must have been from tennis. It must have been from tennis yesterday morning, 100%.
And we've gotten better, and he's gotten in somewhat better shape. I mean,
Definitely,
you've seen Ricky in the last couple of years. That motherfucker got in shape. So I'm pretty sure that we gain soreness because of poor technique and being in good shape, because we can hit the piss out of it. Right. And I'm sure we're doing a lot of shit wrong. You know what I mean? Definitely. That makes it worse. Definitely. Like, I'm sure good players don't feel like this and they're not in good shape, you know? Right. But it works because we get a good workout. Yeah. So, and you're having fun. It was cool. Yeah. Because we hadn't played since, I don't think we played since Thanksgiving. It's the longest break we've taken from playing tennis in the 3 or 4 years that we've been doing it.
Gotcha. So that probably contributed to the soreness too, not playing for about a month. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. Plus, he had taken a little break from weights too. Yeah. So this past week was the first week that we both went back to weightlifting.
Gotcha.
So, and some of his program he got from me. So we do like on leg day and on like static upper body day. We kind of do the same shit. So, but it was cool. It was cool. And then they came over. We cooked some food.
Great time. Yeah.
You know, had some drinkaroos. And the best part was the UFC, because at some point, Micah was in his room. And then Jamie and James decided that they needed to go run an errand. Oh, they went to buy something. I don't remember what it was. But it was right around the co-main and the main event.
Oh, so great timing. So you were
locked
the house
in. Quiet. Mikey was locked in his room doing whatever he was doing in the playroom. I mean, and like, because they got a magic clay or some shit.
Gotcha. So he's doing his thing.
And so, it was wonderful. I just sat there, had a couple of nips like a gentleman, you know. I had taken a little bit of a smoke. Oh, tremendous. And then what happened. It was just a thing of beauty.
Right.
Just a thing of beauty.
That entire.
I mean, the only low light of the night for me was Sarah Moraes losing.
Sure.
Because I was on the
coach. Prelims. Yeah, that was on the
prelims. One of my very good friends, so I root for her. Tough go though. She had a tough go. But Puna Soriano, our boy, who that guy is extreme couture fucking representative. That guy. He's been working with Coach Nate Petit for a long time on his striking, and I know he works with
MMA coach
Eric
of the year.
Nixick.
MMA coach of the year.
MMA coach of the year. So
according to several,
it was good seeing. And I gotta say, did you watch that fight, right?
Yeah, I watched the entire card.
Is it okay to go right into this? We'll talk about other shit.
Yeah, let's fucking. I'm hyped on it.
Okay. Yeah. So get off his opponent's nuts, everybody. The whole fucking commentating staff.
Yeah, Dusko.
Yes, they were on his nutsack the entire time until he got murked.
Well, and let's talk about that, because right,
it pissed me off. I never heard of him, but I was like, God, you guys are sucking some Polish stick, aren't you? And, Jesus Christ.
It was interesting because Dusko, his whole strategy was just trying to matrix his way, lean backwards out of every punch. And it just seemed
so terrible.
It just seemed like that works until it doesn't. And Puna, right, as opposed to punching kind of more towards the forehead into the nose, he just adjusted and started punching lower where it's closer. And it just seemed like Dusko misread the range, thought he was out of the way, and got cracked.
It's a one good thing that DC said, which ties into what you just said, and it's the following. DC said that Puna was throwing round shots, and that towards the end, he straightened out his shots. It's
Adds
true.
more length.
I think he had a little bit too much adrenaline,
Yeah.
and he was winging his punches a little bit too much at first, but it worked to his advantage because a winged punch is a different
range,
distance than a straight punch. So homeboy starts measuring him with round punches, which are shorter.
Yep.
As soon as Punali strained it, that shit landed. But it was brutal. It was great. Main card. And
awesome.
just to give people that are listening
context,
this guy changed his life last night because he made headlines. He got a shot on the main card. He fucking shined. And he was at the front desk of the gym a month ago. He works the front desk of the gym. So watching guys fucking change their life like this, like we've seen a little bit with Justin James and with some other, with Gustavo Lopez, it's really fucking cool, man. And there's another one. You know, I don't know a lot of gyms that survive a long time, but a lot of gyms that survive a long time producing fucking talent, quality caliber fucking fighters that become fucking, staples of the roster, like Dan Ige is now, which by the way, we got to talk about his booking later.
We got to get into that later.
But it was really cool. I was really happy, really hyped.
I mean, it's almost a shame that card was so fire because he could have easily won a performance on any other card.
I know. But
that speaks to how great the card was.
Yeah, but he raised his stock. Last night, the only difference between performance on the night and what he did last night is that he doesn't get the money last night, but he rose to the same level of a performance of the night. He arrived. He fucking arrived.
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying?
This was the first event on ABC, broadcast television.
I did such a flip-flop. You'll notice, inconspicuously, I have no notes today because I had to tear them up.
Why?
Because I had all kinds of notes about how the UFC is like a hooker with 9 pimps and you don't know who you owe the money to. And I was pissed off about this. I don't have no cable. I don't have no rabbit ears. I never went and got my digital antenna for free television because I don't give a fuck about it.
Right.
And so yesterday, as I you brought it up to my attention that it was going to be an ABC in the morning through text. And so I was like, well, I got to look. I look on Sling. And I don't pay for Sling anymore, but Sling has like a free thing just to keep you kind of hooked. They have a few channels that as long as you keep your thing open, it doesn't cost you anything.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to go check on there. And on there, it wasn't on there, right?
Gotcha.
No. It was on there and I never went back and checked, but it said News 13 and there's no guide description.
Gotcha.
The whole guide says News 13 programming. So I was like, well, fuck, that's a gamble. I can't be waiting. Then I looked up an app for it. App came up, asked me for a slight bit of information, and it popped up, but it was also not showing the guide. Sorry. So then I watched the prelims. Then I went and checked on the app.
I was on ESPN Plus.
Yeah. Watch the prelims on ESPN Plus because that's when I was in the sauna that I texted you. Yeah. And then I turned on the app right after they were over, and I just transitioned right over. Brett Okamoto was fucking doing his fucking transition from the prelims to the fucking main card. No problem. Moved from the fucking gym to the kitchen to my room.
No problem.
To the fucking shower.
No problem.
To the motherfucking back to the living room between my phone and my Rokus. No problem.
Incredible.
The stream. No problem.
Well, shout out to ABC because ESPN hasn't been great. But ABC has their shit together. I mean, right? They're a broadcast company, one of the original ones. That's what's up, America, baby. The American broadcast company.
It was cool. Look, man, I don't want any American businesses to go out. So if you're gonna do like, you know what it did? It got me to turn on NBC or ABC rather, which I hadn't done in fucking I don't even know how long.
Well, and right at the beginning of the card, the intro referencing the wide world of sports, it was really cool. It made me upset that that my dad wasn't here in town to watch this card with me because I know growing up he watched wide world of sports. That was how he got the majority of his sports watching done. So I thought that was very cool.
It was very cool.
On because after the Puna fight, right, there was the announcement. The Habib decision. And ladies and gentlemen, my laugh, Carlos's face, if you can't see it, come to YouTube because he's so upset. Dana White is the ultimate honey dicker.
It's so bad though.
Wolf tickets.
I just want to know, what do you gain from this? I does this translate to money or pay-per-views? What does this do?
I don't think it. I truly don't think anyone that wasn't already going to watch the card next weekend is now convinced because we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll do something to get Habib out. I mean, it's just I would love for either Habib or a representative from Habib's side, or kind of someone from his camp, to give their perspective on that, how that conversation went down.
I was going to say this should have been an Instagram statement from Habib.
Yes,
that's it.
Agreed.
That's a tweet. You just tweeted on behalf of Habib.
Well, and it was incredible, right? Because ESPN MMA Twitter account was comparing it to the LeBron James decision. Like it was the way they hyped it up for.
That's cool though.
Sure,
for
but
normies,
the way they hyped it up, so that would be at the beginning of the broadcast. It didn't happen at the beginning of the broadcast. Nothing was said about it. The first fight happened, and then we had this announcement that wasn't an announcement. We literally no amount of new knowledge came out. Zero.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah. I mean, it's whatever.
It is
whatever.
But then let's move on. Because the next fight, Joaquin Buckley, Alessio De Chirico, I believe is how you pronounce it. Bro. The feints from Alessio, right? Like, it was great. The head kick, it sucks for Buckley for having such a viral knockout to be knocked out like that in his own. It's a bummer, but it's a sport. It's a sport.
It's the fight that hypes McGregor the most of the entire weekend for me.
What was?
Because that's what makes Conor so fucking special. Yeah. Everybody want to play grab ass with the low hands and the head movement. Everybody want to play talk shit. Everybody want to play prediction, right? But only one motherfucker can ride that train. Right. And I tell you one thing, for me personally, if I'm playing sports, talking shit distracts me, does not work for me. I talk shit here. You know what I mean?
Outside.
I go to Twitters, I can go somewhere else, but not if I'm doing a sport. Because in my entire life, I've recognized that all that does is gets me out of where I should be in my focus. And that's okay. That's who I am. That I don't have to be like whoever that works for. And in fact, to most people in my life, I've observed that as a crutch. And then there's the special ones.
Like the Connors.
Who 100% are telling you something that they believe. It sounds douchey and fucking petulant, and it's hard to believe. But when you watch somebody, his highlight reel becomes more enjoyable every time. Yeah. Because I go, oh, yeah, that's the fight where I thought this. And boom. Oh, yeah, that's the one time that I was like, oh, he'll get leg kicked. Like, he's just fucking special. Yeah. And when they replay some of the combinations he landed on the Aldo knockout, the Eddie Alvarez
that Eddie Alvarez fight is insane.
It's insanity, man. And these are not bums. These are not, it's not like they're showing the fucking Dennis Seaver highlights. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're showing you highlights of amazing fighters. Yeah. So I just, it's, you know, well, don't get so cocky so early in martial arts. It really doesn't work out great. Well, it's cool to be confident, and you had a highlight reel last time. You know, that shit was fucking awesome.
Well, I mean, that wasn't even last time. This was his second fight because he fought Kevin Holland and lost to Kevin Holland Kevin Holland's 5 fight.
That's right.
How though, Alessio? Because I've seen him fight before. I bit of a fan. He looked massive. Like, he packed on some mass, dude. He looked big, really big.
If that man passed the test, I don't have any comment on that.
Very interesting.
God bless him.
I did find it interesting that he didn't take advantage of any of his post-fight interviews or in the post-fight presser, because apparently he believes that the loser should also be interviewed, which seems
that was a guy,
counter to kind of the UFC's policy of not interviewing losers unless, especially when they're knocked out like that, which I tend to agree with because they're not necessarily all the way there.
It needs to be peculiar in a different way.
And I guess maybe I'm too much of a fan of Chael Sonnen, where you have to take the opportunity post-fight. You have to take the opportunity, and it doesn't have to be shit talking, but you have to let everybody know what your next move is. Otherwise, why do we care?
I think so.
I mean, part of this game is being able to tell a story about you and your career. And I feel like Alessio wasted the opportunity, and whatever, dude.
Yeah, because I remember the Soriano fight more than his fight.
Sure. And it was a great fight. His knockout was
and
incredible.
Soriano didn't have to call anybody out, but we got to know him after.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you're like, oh, this is a wholesome motherfucker. He's nice. He ain't going to be the shit talker. He's a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's all people really need. People really need to just know you a little bit, or at the very least, know you a little bit enough to know that you're not full of shit about the little bit about you that they do know.
Be genuine as best as you can, right? Yeah.
So
then let's move on.
But then, oh, my man Condit.
Well, there's one fight in between. Do you want to talk about that one or no?
Oh, yeah. What was the middle fight?
So the middle fight, the one in between was a welterweight fight. Was the return of Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Li Jingliang. Who?
I stand corrected. I pressed the wrong button on my Roku, and the motherfucker went out, and I had to reboot it. I had to reboot the Roku.
So you didn't see this
to
fight?
Relaunch the app. No, when I came back, the Asian gentleman was celebrating.
Well, because it was that quick of a knockout.
I know. I was like, what the fuck?
It's a bummer because Santiago Ponzinibbio hadn't fought in 2 years. He had some sort of leg infection, turned into a foot fracture, turned into the COVID. So, and he had been on a 7-fight win streak in the welterweight division.
So he goes to the doctor for a bad athlete foot.
He had a leg infection, and then it didn't turn into. But after the leg infection, he broke his foot in training.
That sucks, man.
It's just a series of unfortunate luck, and then to go out there and just get murked like that, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I like Li Jingliang. I think he looks like an NPC in any video game, like the guard. But that means he's a tough motherfucker.
No, I like it.
It's exciting to see Chinese MMA explode, right? I mean, that's kind of
it's exciting to see all of it. The world, dude.
Yeah,
this is
for sure.
I said this for years. I believe this has the potential to rival soccer in its inclusivity of the world.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's
everybody
has
a tough guy.
Everybody
has a tough guy.
Everyone has one village of fucking psychopaths that don't give no fucks.
Similar to with Alessio, I would never want to question anybody's.
But you're going to.
I don't have a question. No, it's not even the amount of how jacked he looked, but I just have a question.
Which he did.
He looked shredded. I mean, his abs had abs, dog. But how does USADA do testing when these fighters live in China? Because when they go to Thailand, they don't test, right? USADA doesn't operate there. I mean, it's the United States Anti-Doping Association. It's in the name.
That's a good question.
It's in the name. And
I think you gotta jump. I think you gotta hop on the next Twitter interaction with Dana.
And we know from Icarus that other countries' anti-doping programs are anti-doping programs, right?
Right.
Look at the Russians, and to think that the Chinese aren't doing something like this, come on.
That's foolish.
It's foolish to the way the world. Because why would you? Especially with something like this, and it's a state-sponsored activity, which it absolutely is when they get to this level. They have to get the support of the state. If it seems like you're going to have a low probability of getting caught, it seems like they would do it. Just
100%.
100%. I mean, right? We know 100%. Crime happens when opportunity and a low chance of being caught presents itself.
So okay, but here's the thing: doesn't USADA test them? Also, you're saying for out of competition testing because they get tested for the event, right?
I'm sure they get. Yeah, I'm sure as soon as they get within USADA range, they immediately get tested. But when they're in China, training out of their home, I don't know. I don't know how that works. Where's Jeff Novinsky? Someone get on the phone. That's a good question.
I'm gonna ask around at the gym because I know I can find that out.
Sure.
You know, I have Dennis. Dennis has some fighters that live in Europe, in other areas. You know, but there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Because and then the Italian and the Chinese dude look jacked.
I mean, just like if you look at Alessio in his previous fights, he cultivated mass. He looked huge in this fight yesterday. Like it was crazy. I was so shocked. But now let's move on to the co-main event. The natural born killer, Carlos Condit, Matt the Immortal One Brown. Boys,
I gotta say,
this was a firestorm of a fight. It was incredible.
It was exactly what I thought it would be.
Sure.
Without a random knockout.
Yeah.
I didn't think, in my opinion, Condit dominated 100% of that fight. That's just what I think.
Okay.
I don't think that. I think Matt Brown is taking a lot of damage, and I think honestly his gripe about the decision is, in my opinion,
was he griping about it?
Yeah, this morning on Twitter he was already saying there's no way he lost round one.
Well, I would say that because it was a 30-27 unanimous decision. I do think maybe it shouldn't have been a 30-27 because I do think the control on the ground, the way he was able to ground and pound, Matt Brown just got bloodied.
Yeah, but he got reversed.
At the very end of the round for the last 20 seconds.
It was
he still
beautiful, though.
But
reversing to an elbow.
He still had, 4 minutes of control on the bottom ground?
I don't think it was that long.
3 minutes, 3 minutes and a half?
I don't think it was that long. And the other thing, too, is that's also possibly a strategic mistake because there's a couple of people that can make you look bad from the bottom. Condit's one of them. Totally. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I feel like Matt Brown looked really good on the bottom of that first round, and I feel like in the second and third round he just got tired.
Carlos Condit is just a motherfucker, dude. And let me add that I love a guy who's still, I think, has a lot of fights left in him.
Yeah.
Walk out of his contract with a fight like this. Yeah. It's like a fuck you, motherfucker.
He showed how fucking game he is.
Yes.
It was great. It was great. His sweep. Can we talk about his sweep that he pulled off on Matt Brown? That looked like a kick, but he turned it into his
beautiful.
Sweep. It was just. It's everything you want in a Carlos Condit fight.
It was a classic. Yes,
exactly. Yes. You're saying exactly what I was
saying. The fucking the leg kick, the overhand into the fucking.
Yes, brother. It was beautiful.
I love when he throws that same side lead hook or jab with the same side head kick.
Yeah,
and
his weird
head
movement. Exactly what you're talking about.
Fucking awesome. Because sometimes when that fails, then he comes with a super hard body shot to rectify that stance.
Yeah,
it's cool, man. It was a good fucking fight. It was, again, I like seeing him go on top because you win. And Jamie's like, well, yeah, but couldn't he resign? I'm like, yeah, but you have to understand this. By the time they fight their contract out, that means they already didn't renegotiate. Otherwise, they would have renegotiated. You never should be fighting your last fight, you know? So I like it. I think that.
I do think he probably ends up somewhere else just because, unfortunately.
He's older and he costs a lot.
Exactly. I'm just not sure. Right. That Matt Brown's not a ranked opponent. No disrespect to Matt Brown, but he's not a ranked opponent.
No. That was a good. I mean, it's a good matchup.
Yeah, it was a great matchup. It was a great, what felt like a Legends matchup.
Yeah.
A Legends matchup for our sport, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And they still weren't quite over the hill, so it didn't feel like we were exploiting anybody. It felt like two older gentlemen who were down as fuck to put on an incredible fight, and that's what we saw. It was awesome.
Yeah. Because unfortunately, as much as I love Condit, I don't think Condit is ever fighting for a championship in the UFC at 170. I think that Condit is a nightmare for anybody in the top 10.
I agree with that. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So, but it was a great fight, man. And then the baptism started.
Bro, Max Holloway.
Then the baptism started. The baptism began, and the priest he came down.
I mean, I feel like truly the only thing you can say about that fight is the best is blessed. I mean, Max Holloway, dude. Calvin Kattar said it best in the post-fight interview. If you're not a fan of Max Holloway, you're just a hater. You're 100%. Just a hater.
100%. 100%. That was, Jamie, okay, so my wife walked in and right at the end, and she looks at me, and I'm like this.
About to cry.
And she's like, are you about to fucking cry? And I'm like, maybe. By myself, ladies and gentlemen. Sure. But it was just, as it was going on, especially round 3 through 5, I was like, I hate to agree with my bald brother, Dana White. I do think that he took more punishment than was necessary. By the third round, his corners should have recognized he was no fucking way he was going to win that fight. And how many punches was that? 200?
Right. Well, so.
Because he got like 450 landed on him, right?
So Joe Rogan posted on Instagram, and I took a screenshot because it was the best little comprehensive little record I saw of the amount of records that Max Holloway broke. Let me read you. There's 8 of them. He broke 8 records last night. Significant strikes landed. He landed 445. The previous record, 290.
Wow.
Significant strikes attempted, 744 to 515 was the previous. From distance strikes landed, 439. Previous, 281. Significant head strikes landed, 274. Previous was 244. Body strikes significant, 117. Previous was 92. Strikes landed in a round, significant strikes landed in a round, 141. Previous was 134. Total strikes landed, 447. The previous was 361. Total strikes attempted, he threw 746, and the previous was 541.
Wow.
Those are some records. Some of them now, some of those records can possibly be touched by someone else because they're not all that far from the previous. But I mean, some of those records he shattered, and I'm not sure they'll ever be touched again. The volume, the combinations, right? It just felt like, right, and maybe in the first and second round, Calvin was able to stick him hard with a couple of counters, but at no point was he able to get going. At no point, Max was able to truly make him freeze and just watch him. Just watch him and kind of react and just get pieced up. And the moment he hesitated, Max was like, okay, well, I'll throw another punch. I'll throw another one. Oh, here's more. Here's more.
The creativity of the body work that he utilized.
I think it was either
landed so many body shots, dude. I mean, I know Calvin's entire his liver, his kidneys, they took a fucking beat down, man. Because you could hear the sound. When he throws that right hook to the fucking body, it sounded like, oh.
What does Sensei Johnny say? A little jam in the lemonade?
Yeah. And it set up so many vicious headshots.
Yeah.
Because when you get landed like that in the body, you can't help but to bring your elbows down. And God bless Calvin, man, because I never saw his hands go down. I saw his elbows get forced down and his guard had to drop out of fucking survival.
Right.
But I didn't see his hands themselves ever drop. And he never stopped coming forward. Right. And I don't understand how he kept coming forward after that long elbow that Max was doing.
I was just about, that was beautiful.
Overhand elbow. Like he's throwing a fucking baseball, dude.
Max elbows were incredible. I believe it was either the third or fourth round where he had Calvin against the cage, where he just continued to throw a jab, elbow, jab, elbow. Oh, let me do hooks to the body, back to the jab, elbow. Dude.
Not only that, but he kind of has a version of that Diaz uppercut.
Right.
That's long, kind of like a hook, but he does like an uppercut at a long range, and it sets up the cross beautifully. Yeah. And when he is not at range for the cross, he turns it in and step and hook.
Right.
And it cross steps forward. Well, it was just a masterclass. That oblique kick.
The oblique combination.
Every time. Every time he was like, he pumped his brakes.
Right, Mac. Because Calvin Kattar is a fantastic MMA boxer. You have to give the man credit. He's an incredible boxer for MMA. However, Max is so fluid. Whether he has his right hand in front, his left hand in front, no matter what stance he's in, he can throw everything with precision, with power, with accuracy. No matter what stance he's in, and he just flows. He
looked
flows.
better.
Yes,
he looked better. He looked better sparring wise and exchange wise. He looked sharper in the mind. Yeah. He looked bigger. He looked a little more jacked in the back, like he's taking his time to heal up and train. That was so artistic. It reminded me of like other sports, like the first time that fucking Tony Hawk did a 900 and fucking, certain snowboarding runs that I've seen Sean White take, and fucking sports that are like, like Slash playing the Godfather solo and fucking the Use Your Illusion tour. Right. Like just shit that I was like, what who the fuck? The mixing up and down and back and forth. It was
incredible.
I mean, it was the fifth round where he was talking to the commentators, ducking 8 punches.
That fifth round where he literally was like,
combo. That was amazing, dude. It was. God bless the UFC, man, because that was the best fucking. Here it is. This is ABC.
This is our sport. This is what we do.
Here's our big day.
We have 3 fights on the main card that are all first round finishes. We have 2 legends of the sport that show you why they're legends and how they're legends. And then you have Max Holloway. And then you have goddamn Max Holloway putting on one of the best performances the last 2 years. Definitely the best performance of his career, unquestionably.
And also, I didn't want to mention another scoreboard that grew was the one that I hold personally against the streaming quality of ESPN. Congratulations, ESPN! Yet another company that can figure out streaming without a problem.
Yeah. Well, and we have to talk about what Max is going to go do next, because Volk is the champ.
Connor again, bro.
He's lost twice to Volk. Well, here I don't even want to address that right now. Let's stay within the featherweight division, right? Because Volkanovski has Brian Ortega next, and I'm sorry, I just don't. If Brian Ortega can't even touch Max Holloway, and Alexander Volkanovski has done what he's done against Max Holloway, not once but twice, I'm sorry, Brian Ortega, you're not going to be touching Volk.
I know this is gonna sound cliched, but Alex didn't fight this Max. I know, you're right, everyone. But trust me, the person we saw last night
has gone better and better.
Is on the Anderson Silva type of realm at its peak. I mean, this was
Matrix shit.
There's just fucking levels. There's fucking levels. And the level that Max was at last night, I'm sorry, but I don't see Alex or Connor touching him, dude. I mean, I actually give a better shot to Connor just because Connor's so hype about rising to this mythical locations and he does it. So to me, a losing Connor fighting this Max, woo! Because let me tell you something, I'm very tempted to put a little C note because I'm a conservative man. I'm a family man. I got responsibilities. I don't just gamble recklessly. $100 for me to put on betting, which I never do. It's a lot of money, but I'm thinking about putting $100 in Dustin.
Wow.
I have, listen, I know all the rational arguments for it. This is not a rational thing. I just think that he's going to be enough of a dog.
Sure.
And it's very hard. Like, Connor's going to have to keep doing the impossible. And just that the statistical probability of that continuing is gotta start diminishing.
And Dustin is just so much better than what he was.
That too. It's a different fight. What was that, 2014?
Yeah. And I mean, Dustin coming off, I think his last fight was against Justin.
Yep.
I do love Max saying he's staying in Abu Dhabi. Give him a call. We have Max on deck. We have Paul Felder on deck. Ooh, I mean,
tremendous. It's tremendous.
I mean,
it's
this
a beautiful
Saturday,
start of the year, bro.
This Saturday, we're going to be having, like, truly the lightweights are going to shine. Because, I mean, that Dan Hooker, Michael Chandler fight, that's going to be an incredible fight.
I love it. They started the year with fire, dude.
Yeah.
You got to give it up.
The Wednesday card on Wednesday, which starts at 6 a.m. And then the main event, the main card starts at 9. And that is headlined by Michael Chiesa and Neil Magny.
Oh, man. Neil Magny, another headliner. That dude is a master of snooze. I call him melatonin.
That's a funny name. That's a good nickname for him. Because, you're right.
Neil Melatonin.
Well, and Neil Magny doesn't... You're right. He's just not an exciting fighter. I don't think he is.
Nah.
I like Chiesa, but it's... other than that, Ricky Simon's on that card on Wednesday.
No, the mullet.
Habib's cousin is on that card. He's on the prelims, the second fight on the prelims, so that'll be interesting.
Cool.
So that'll be at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning.
So how much of that should I work? All right.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be nice. Exactly. It'll be nice to have fights.
Be drinking my coffee, el café de la mañana. Me lo tomo.
UFC 257. Can I go down this card with you?
Yes, go for it. Go.
So I'm probably going to butcher a lot of these names just because where they are in Abu Dhabi.
A lot of
Europeans. So on the early prelims, which is going to be starting at 3:30 on UFC Fight Pass, we have Amir Albazi versus Zalgas Zermagulov, a flyweight fight. We have a catchweight fight against Nick Lentz and Movzar Evloev.
Nick Lentz's game.
Feature fight on the early prelims is going to be middleweight bout between Andrew Sanchez against Makhmud Muradov. Gosh, these names. And then the prelims card starts off with Khalil Roundtree making his return to the UFC.
Nice.
Against Marcin Prochnio, I don't know. Women bantamweight following Juliana Pena versus Sarah McMahon. That's going to be fun. Middleweight battle, Brad Tavares, another Extreme Couture guy, against Antonio Carlos Jr. The feature fight of the prelim is going to be Arman Tzarkyan versus Nazrat Hakparasat. These names, dude. This is a lightweight belt. And then the main card is going to be kicking off with Amanda Ribas versus Mariana Rodriguez. That should be a good fun fight. That's going to be a fun fight. Yeah. Followed by a lightweight battle versus Matt Frivola versus Otman Azatar, I believe is how you pronounce that name. And then we have Jessica Ai versus Joanne Calderwood in the women's flyweight. And then we have Dan Hooker, Michael Chandler, Dustin St. Connor.
They have Jessica Ai as the feature on that pay-per-view?
I believe there were fights that fell out. There had to have been, right?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, good. I mean, that they got to be paying her good money for that.
Yeah, you would have
hopefully,
to.
Hopefully, hopefully they're making some cash.
But that
because I mean, everybody else, based on like their results recently and their fighting, makes sense. But that's awesome, though. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, you could give me a shit show and Conor McGregor and Dustin. Now I don't give a fuck. I'll be happy. I mean, I'm so hyped about that fucking fight. But I like the co-main is Dan Hooker and
Michael
Chandler.
His first fight in the UFC.
I can't wait. I'm super excited. I haven't been excited. You know what? Last time I was this hype about somebody's UFC debut was Justin Gaethje.
Sure. Yeah, totally. And Dan Hooker, one of those New Zealand boys.
A matchup. Of all the names that were tossing around, I like that they didn't, because you know how sometimes they're tossing around all the names that we're thinking of and they come up with some shit that, who the fuck is that? I like that we're going right into it. All right. Into it.
And Dan Hooker is a matchup nightmare for just about everyone in that lightweight division, especially now that Habib's gone. Yeah. His range, his length.
And by the way, I love Chandler Habib matchup. Just saying.
Well, maybe if they do something spectacular. Maybe. Who knows? But before we finish from UFC, I would like to bring up that I did host a little live fight companion stream watch along on Twitch, on my Twitch channel. It was a good time. It was interesting. I had this one dude who claimed he had just signed up to fight bare knuckle boxing.
Oh, yeah?
BKFC. And let me tell you, the guy was shitting all over Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar, talking about how their boxing was trash and how if this was boxing, their boxing coaches would be scolding them and how Max Holloway looked like shit and how it wasn't a great performance.
Can we find out who this gentleman is in the socials?
I will come back to you because I absolutely want to figure this out.
I'm just kind of interesting.
Of course.
He sounds like an expert, and I'm always looking for expert opinions.
He sounded bitter. But I'm just one fan.
Yeah.
That being said, he dropped a follow on my Twitch channel. So what's up, dude? He joined the Discord. So let me bring this up. I created a Children of the Beast Discord. Within that Discord, whenever a new episode of the Children of the Beast goes live on YouTube, it automatically pops up and notifies everyone in Discord. Cool. So it's a little way to kind of be the beginning of forming a little community. And so
Discord is like on demand-ish.
So Discord is, do you know what Slack is?
I know Discord we used Discord before, but I'm saying from a non-recording base, like if I'm a user, which I've never been, do I have your shows on demand there?
It depends. So like Discord is nothing more but a platform that gives you like your own little server that you can kind of customize however you want. So I've customized the Children of the Beast server there's some other programs you can integrate with Discord so that whenever something gets popped up to YouTube or my Twitch channel, so whenever I stream live, it automatically sends in a notification to notify everyone that's inside the Discord. But you also have little basically chat rooms. That's the best way you can think of it.
That's what I was going to ask you. Last night, your interaction, people weren't talking to you on audio. That you were chatting with them with the chat app.
I was streaming live.
I
was streaming live, talking into the microphone like we are right now. And then I had a little chat bubble, and I had a handful of friends and a handful of random people who, I mean, anyone that's going to randomly hop into the stream, I appreciate them. I'm a big fan because it's nice of them.
Right.
So it was a great time. I'm going to continue to keep doing that for the next couple
that's cool.
Fights. I mean, again, if 2-3 people per card hop in and random people, that's 2-3 more random people that are knowing about the podcast and whatnot. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Hell yeah.
It was great.
That's cool. Cool.
It was a great time.
Well, yeah, we got a good week on the fight spear. I'm stoked about it. This is very much an exciting time, man. You know, especially coming off a fucking election and everything else too. Like,
in 3 days, nice Joe Biden will become officially president. We are recording this on January.
And I'm back to being terrified. I just want it to happen already. Like,
it is a little wild to me, right? How much security that is going on the Capitol, right? I guess it shouldn't be wild to me because of what happened on the 6th, where I feel like the only people that I see talking about any sort of protest or people coming in, it seems to be the media and kind of top level Democrats, where with the 6, with the other protests that have happened that were Stop the Steal protests, that were MAGA protests. I felt like there was a lot more public advertisement about that. And maybe that's because Twitter went so hard on locking down so many of these accounts that we're not witnessing this, and you're only seeing these in this real back channels like Parler, which got closed down, like Gab. I don't know.
We'll see, because I was just listening to our episode that you released, right? 22.
Sure. Yeah.
And obviously I was completely wrong about the unrest, and it got as terrible as you had prognosticated that it would, and I just never thought that people were actually that easily brainwashed.
Sure.
On both sides, because I see it on both sides. And I mean, even at work, I have people that only listen to CNN and only listen to Fox. Yeah. And then there was a tweet that we both liked earlier that said, we need to start, let's normalize questioning the integrity of our information sources. That means our chosen ones.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Start with questioning the information that you're choosing to absorb. Don't be just so willing to well, this is what I let in.
Right. So a great example of this that happened this last week. Did you see the Wall Street Journal article? Listen to what I just said. The Wall Street Journal article talking about how Ivanka and Jared do not allow Secret Service to use their bathrooms in their house that they're living in DC, their mansion.
First of all, I completely understand if that was the case. Secondly, why is that merit a news article?
Thank you. But the way it was framed was that it cost $100K of taxpayer funding so that Secret Services could figure out bathrooms wherever that was inside the house. Well, come to find out, 8 hours after the article was posted, and remember, this is the Wall Street Journal. They had a comment from a Secret Service representative, their PR representatives, that said, well, this is just standard protocol for Secret Service. Secret Service never attempts to use these types of facilities with the people that they're protecting. It's a complete non-story, seemingly written just to make the Trumps, Ivanka, and Jared look bad, which they don't need any help looking bad. I mean, let's be real. They don't need the help.
Yeah.
And this is the Wall Street Journal.
And what happens if a right-winger tries to popularize this in a tweet? Are they going to censor him?
Most likely, it seems like, right?
Yeah, no, because I also, a lot of people agree with you about the Twitter as a basically extending the free speech rights to Twitter.
Well, right? If free speech is one of the best examples of free speech, right, is your public square. How is Twitter? How is social media not our digital public square?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I was thinking about it, and a lot of the way that I discern through the bullshit is through Twitter, because I read all the regular.
And you can find actual journalists. You can follow not organizations, but the actual people who are writing these things. Mm-hmm. And not only do you get the news as they're writing it, but also you get a sense for them as a person, which is, as you said,
not only that, but you also and the effect that the news is having on regular people, because you can see some people that they only the effect that their chosen news source is having upon them.
Well, and so, I was sent the Wall Street Journal article by a buddy, a good friend of mine, who in the last year has been real hot on laughing at Trump and the family and whatnot, and just, which, again, easy to do. I agree with him. But when he sent me the Wall Street Journal thing, I laughed, and I kind of had your response. Well, I wouldn't want the Secret Service shitting in my toilet either. What the fuck? I think that's kind of normal. And then 8 hours later, when the article was corrected, and I sent him the article, and I was like, it seems like news organizations just get to write whatever they want about Trump just to make them look bad, no matter whether or not it's true, and people don't care. And he goes, well, Trump shouldn't have been talking shit about the media for so much, which is not the response I feel like.
But see, that's the thing, is that they're playing that, and that's where it pollutes me, is you're saying the other side is a bunch of troglodytes. But when information is presented to you to get corrected, you're not humble enough and integrity driven enough to do it in a positive manner that moves the entire conversation forward, which, by the way, is what you claim your side's about. And there's a lot of that where it's like, well, yeah, but still, yeah, but it's so they're playing like this, like it's not about a score, it's not about tit for tat. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it unfortunately, it justifies just about everything Trump has said about fake news.
It makes me think about this. Like, if both sides were in a boat, you know, they both fucking sink.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not covering up your holes. You know, you're sure shit good at pointing the holes in the other boat over there. Yeah. You know, but if somebody points out the hole and he's like, no, we like a light water flow
like,
in this.
We talk about the Democrats being the parties of progressiveness and minorities, right? Why are the Democrats led by Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer then? Two old white people. If we're playing by their rules, right? If we're playing by Democrat rules, they gotta go. And I think probably the vast majority of people would agree with this statement. I don't think this is a controversial statement. I don't find many people, Democrat or Republican, obviously not Republican, but even Democrat, who are fans of Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. It's just, I don't know, man.
No, but it's also the same old story when you see that they're about to transition to the new government, and Nancy Pelosi and AOC are already fucking bumping skirts.
Right.
Oh, so we're starting now because we all, you know.
Well, and then can we talk about this? Can we also talk about how the Democrats ran a campaign, the Georgia Senate runoffs, based on this idea of you vote for Georgia Democrat senators here in Georgia, $2,000 checks out the door. Do you know how much the checks are that were announced in Joe Biden's reason?
600, right?
1,400. Oh. Their reasoning is, well, 600 plus 1,400 is $2,000. Obviously, we never meant that we were going to send actual $2,000 checks, even it's not fair. Even though when there's messaging as recently as the 14th, so 3 days ago, talking about $2,000 checks out the door. Joe Biden, quote, $2,000 checks.
At the end of the year, when they ask you how much did the president give you, you'll say $2,000.
Well, if that's the case, it should only be $200 because we already got money earlier. Oh, but it's a different stimulus. But if we're adding up stimulus money, let's add up all the stimulus money, and we're already closer. So then it shouldn't be $1,400.
He's only adding the ones he only adds up the ones he was talking about, bro. He won't talk about the other stimulus. He's talking about the two stimulus that he's talking about only.
So you mean the Trump stimulus? So they can add some of the Trump.
We don't say that name no more.
Oh.
We don't say
it's just
not in this White House.
I'm curious to see how the 20th end of the inauguration looks out.
Well, especially after, I gotta say, I don't say this often, but I praise the Department of Justice and the FBI, man.
Absolutely, for the way
this motherfuckers got to work.
Right.
Dude, the first couple of days, the cynicism got the better of me, and I was like, they gotta get away with it. They got the technology. Right. They should have them already. And then the next day, it's like 100 people arrested. I was like, oh shit, you're not fucking around today.
The video of the Trump supporter at the airport being informed that he's on the no-fly list. He's literally crying and wailing like a big baby. Now,
you know what I love too? The people that are asking for a pardon from him now, it's so fucking funny because they're putting him on the spot. Like he's going to have to address this at some point before he dies. So he's going to have to address whether he responds to these people or whether he doesn't respond to these people. Right. He's going to have to address this people and questions about all of these people. And I'm talking, you heard about the realtor from Texas?
Right? Yeah, Jenna Ryan, I believe her name is. Yeah,
she took a private jet and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, so there's one person at least who's not one of the sad looking ones that he did not like. So now we got the whole range. Like I fucking I love it.
I'm not sure I mentioned this last week, but it's also incredible. Like, there's videos of the organizers of the protest of Alex fucking Jones on a ladder trying to direct people away from the Capitol steps. Away from
I've heard a lot of accounts of people that were like, hey, assholes, you're making us all look bad. But that basically happens in all of those things.
Exactly.
In all of those things, there's people that are just there for the cause that could be civilized human beings.
Right.
And there's motherfuckers that had one too many Red Bulls and got a little too stupid and hype.
That's what I brought up last week, right? Is this could possibly be the end of street protest, because it seems like no matter the intention of the organizers, no matter the intention of the protest, it seems like there's going to be some sort of bad agent, regardless if they're associated or not, regardless if there's infiltration of Antifa or MAGA or Proud Boys, however you want to do. Well, no, I mean, it does. There were two leaders of BLM protesters who were arrested, who were at the Capitol leading people inside.
Yeah. I don't doubt that. I mean, there's always going to be agent provocateurs from adversarial groups that infiltrate an adversary's group.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that. But the reality is that this was his people.
Sure.
This was
and it seems like it was his people who were dumb enough to just follow these people inside.
Listen, an MMA, we always talk about the Cheeto finger motherfuckers, right? To me, the guy with the fucking bison hat, in my fucking mental dictionary of life,
that guy's fucking insane.
When I die and I think of a Trump supporter, it will be the picture of that guy in my head.
Well, he doesn't necessarily. I mean, he seems to agree with Trump on some things, but he's also super against for the climate. He was at BLM protesting alongside with BLM. So that guy's kind of all over the place.
Yes, but he became the symbol.
Sure, I mean, yeah, but the actual person.
He became the symbol of an incident that cost law enforcement lives. And it could have cost even more lives.
Sure.
An incident in which a president took more than 5 days to denounce and to actually even check on his vice president, who happened to be in that same building with his family.
Right.
So to me, it's iconic in the sense that this is a guy who's 32 years old, who's a failed actor, who lives with his mother, who goes on a hunger strike because they won't feed him organic.
That doesn't sound like a Trump supporter, though. That doesn't sound like a Trump supporter to me, though. Someone that is
the
doing
looseness and the amount of time on his hands.
Yeah, but someone that is protesting for organic food, that's not a Trump supporter. That's just not a Trump supporter. No, that's not a Trump supporter.
It tells me he's the son of somebody that has enough money to support him at 32 years old and feed him organic food.
Clearly.
Sounds privileged.
Yeah, clearly.
So to me, that becomes sort of like
right, but
that's who has time on their hands to go out and participate in this. This is not a guy that was under the freeway and was like, I know Trump's going to change my life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's funny because, they right away, the right wing tries to say, we were infiltrated. We live in a time where all those people have been living a digital footprint.
Right. Through that digital footprint, there does seem to be a small section of people that were infiltrating. That is a fact. It's not the vast majority.
But in a way, that's like an accidental transparency that is resulting from so much social media fucking interaction and all of that, because it's like, you're going to hide from Twitter. You want to talk shit on Twitter. Twitter knows where you was. You know what I mean? And there's a bunch of
here's a great point, right? I've seen this circulating around on conservative Twitter, on fucking Republican Twitter, right? If Trump was inciting violence through Twitter and whatnot, how were Kamala Harris, how were AOC not inciting violence with the BLM protest? Because not as many people died? Is that the line we're drawing? Because, right, I mean, AOC tweeted out a graphic talking about how to protest that included wearing masks, wearing heat-resistant gloves, turning off your location on your phone, and turning off your data so you can't be tracked through your phone in case... And
see that crosses the line to me. It's the same.
And obviously we live in a double standard world, but I mean that's just a blatant one right there.
Well, and Jack Dorsey's fucking statement, which
is such a pussy.
It's such a
what a fucking
white knighting fucking virtue signaling bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God!
What is the?
I wish Liberace was alive to make a man out of him.
I know you know the name. What is the Twitter chief of security? The one that was on Rogan.
Vada Goody or Goodvie or something.
She's clearly the one that
running shit, right? She's Dick Cheney.
I mean, that's kind of what it seems like, right? And
that's
Jack's kind of the fall guy. Because I mean, even Jack's statement, he tried to castigate it as if, right? Oh. Us big tech companies, we're not in coordination. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a phone call to be in coordination. You can just see what the other ones are doing and then kind of follow suit, which especially Twitter seemed to do, because it's not like Twitter was the first one to do it. It was Facebook, it was Instagram, and then Twitter got on. And then it was everyone else that hopped on the bandwagon, all the other big tech organizations.
Yes, but see, the thing about it is, and I don't know how many use the word indefinitely.
I believe it was only Twitter. I believe Twitter was the only one.
That's, to me, honestly, I got to be honest with you. I did not expect integrity and genuinity out of these companies. I expected a response of some sort. I believe that, to me, in the spirit of good business, they say that a good business transaction is when both parties walk away dissatisfied.
Sure.
I am okay, therefore, with the way that they handled it, right? Because I partially satisfied. The part where it's partial is that as much as I disagree with a lot of their philosophy,
Right.
I like that they addressed it and they said, you know what? We're going to reassess after he's no longer the president.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a measured response.
Right.
I may not like the measure they took,
Oh.
but I appreciate that it's a measured response. You know what I'm saying? With Twitter, it's worded in such a way that it's like, now I'm waiting on you not to be a pussy about your word. That's all I'm waiting on.
Yeah.
Because the other ones left the door open to the world is malleable. Listen, I used to hate George Bush. I'll say it, he's my favorite fucking ex-president. Because he shut the fuck up and I never see anything negative. He only comes out to help. Ever since he stopped being a president, that motherfucker only comes out to help.
He knows how to get
PR.
Come
out. Yeah, he doesn't come out to like bring attention to himself.
Sure.
He doesn't get crazy. If he does, we wouldn't know anything about it. He's out there in his, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like that, man. Like that's how you ingratiate yourself, regardless of whether at the time I agree with you or not, or what the fuck ever it is. You know what I mean? Like Dick Cheney couldn't fucking do that. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I mean, Bill Clinton wasn't able to do it.
His ego would never allow it.
Bill Clinton wasn't able to do it. Bill Clinton wasn't able to do it. Barack Obama is seemingly not able to do it.
But he's a little louder. Barack,
I mean,
Barack likes to downplay that he likes the attention.
Yeah, and it's not. I'm right. I mean, like, whereas George Bush isn't so much commentating on current events and actually affecting things, you absolutely have to acknowledge the fact that Obama does.
Yes, but also
it's measured. It's a measured response. It's a measured response.
Yes, because I think George Bush is measuring the fact that he knows whether he acknowledges or not. The history will view him as responsible for many events that we're still dealing with right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
And so in a way, to me, his being out there the way Obama is will be flaunting the fact that he got away with it.
Sure.
Or that he did it.
Right.
And I've actually read in certain pieces of journalism that he has a lot of regret about a lot of things that went down in that time frame.
As you know? He should, right? Like, I mean, he seemingly
because again, and that's
instigation to lead us into war.
Well, as you should, because you're a growing human being and a man that at some point acknowledges that maybe some of the courses that you took were not the best courses that you should have taken.
This is kind of like the other tweet that we both like that is kind of similar to the other one, right? It's like normalize looking at yourself 6 months ago and kind of cringing.
Yes.
Looking at yourself 6 months ago and cringing because you want to grow. You want to be better than you were 6 months, day by day. Not even 6 months, but day by day.
And even if you're super confident, challenge yourself to find something cringy from 6 months ago. Let's say you're super actualized. But you know what I'm saying? Like the spirit. Yes. Yeah. You know, so, and I think that Trump's going to have a hard time even fucking considering doing something in the vein of a George Bush or in the vein of a Barack Obama or anything
Trump
like that.
We're going to see the creation of some sort of Trump media thing.
Yeah, but see, at this point, how does he keep fans? Let's talk about his brand.
I mean, the brand's falling apart. The brand's falling apart, right?
I mean, I've never been pro or against this brand.
You know how
this brand doesn't exist in my world.
Let me hit you with how he does it. The Apprentice comes back.
Oh man!
I mean, a TV network has to carry it. That's the big thing.
Who touches it?
That's the thing. But if someone does, are you kidding me? Are you telling me you're not going to watch the former president rekindle his Apprentice show?
That a huge network is going to have to radically change all of its programming to completely not cater to half of America that's going to disagree with them putting him on?
Or he just makes it on his own network again.
Yes, but here's the interesting
thing
about
online.
That. He may.
As long as it's Amazon.
But we're talking about a time where the brand is
crumbling.
It's immune deficient right now. This brand.
If COVID got there, it's
got
dead.
The virus. His brand got the virus. So, how does a guy that never put his own money into ventures raise capital to build a brand so that he can continue to be the loudmouth that he is?
Well, and like,
who's going to pay for that?
One of his biggest financial supporters, Sheldon Adelson, just died.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which, by the way, you know, an amazing Las Vegas. Whether you like him or not politically, what he did in this town was amazing. What he did for gaming was amazing. What he did for the hospitality industry was amazing. And, you know, he's responsible for a lot of charitable organizations here in the Las Vegas Valley. So also
trying to balance out all the stuff. Yeah.
While we're at the obituary, Roy Horn passed away as well. I mean, Siegfried.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
One of them.
Another Vegas.
One
another
died
Vegas
last
great.
year.
Yeah.
The guy that got attacked by a tiger last year.
That was Roy. I think
the
Siegfried
COVID.
died.
Yeah. So Siegfried died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very sad. But I didn't realize he was that old. 89.
Yeah. He made it a long time.
Yeah, dude.
He made it a long time. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I just don't know how he does that because he's gonna have to put his own money into shit. And right now, I mean, he's radioactive for loans, for banks, for real estate, for fucking development, for I mean, even now he's into it with Rudy. And Rudy's thrown his career away for this dumb motherfucker.
Rudy was beloved. Rudy was beloved in America. And now he hated.
Through all that 9/11 sympathy.
America's mayor.
All that 9/11 sympathy, he just pissed it down the toilet.
Yeah. Looking like an insane person.
He ran down the toilet much in the way that his hair dye ran down his chin.
Right.
Just, it's crazy. It's so crazy, man.
Can this be the conspiracy part of the podcast? We're an hour in. I have a conspiracy for you.
Well, a couple actually regarding political procedures.
And then we can get into my conspiracy theory.
Yes. So with impeachment.
Sure.
What does this mean?
So I saw floating around on Twitter that him being impeached, it would prevent him from getting the president's pension and some of the Secret Service detail. And I believe that got debunked. I believe that's not actually the case.
Okay. But they voted for impeachment. That doesn't mean they're going to go through with it.
I mean, they already voted for this once before. They've already voted to impeach him once before.
But then isn't there supposed to be like a judge?
Then there would be a Senate trial. Right. The Senate would be this. The Senate holds the Senate trial to.
And he has to testify in front of the Senate?
I mean, if they ever hold it, and it doesn't seem like that is gonna happen like it didn't happen the first time. Now,
so now the Democrat. So if it stops now, what's the repercussion of the impeachment?
I don't believe there's any.
It's just history and tarnishing him, right?
I guess. It makes the Democrats feel better. It makes them. It's a distraction.
Does it prevent him from running in 2024?
I don't believe so. I could be wrong. But I don't believe so.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would have to do a little bit more research just because I kind of didn't do any of that sort of research just because I felt like it was very unlikely for it to follow through entirely, just like it didn't the first time.
Right.
It truly just seems right in my head. This is a distraction to get people not talking about the stimulus package and not talking about how Biden lied and is doing $1,400 checks versus $2,000 checks.
Right.
It just seems like a distraction. That's truly what it feels like to me. So in that regard, I haven't really given it much thought. Now, if it does happen, which the Democrats do control the Senate here now, we'll see.
Because who's been quiet for like a couple of months? Sislak's been real quiet for a couple of months. Like he's waiting for everything to die down. He did his part. I'm interested to see. He hasn't really had like press conferences or updates on Corona.
Yeah, he has. He had one last week.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah. He extended the pause. I mean, he extended the pause. And you know how they were doing the different tiers for vaccinations?
I did not.
Okay, so they were doing...
Oh, yeah. Well, first responders first.
Yeah, they were doing a tier system where each tier has different categories. Well, they modified it after... They're still in phase... I believe the phase one of the tiers was like first responders and medical professions and whatnot. And then I believe it's going to go into two different lanes of categories of different people that can start to apply for vaccination. The first lane being... older people over 65 with underlying conditions, and then the other lane is going to be various types of frontline workers, right? Like I know people at my college, for example, because they're on campus face to face,
grocery store people, maybe.
Yeah, like I know for early education, any teacher from early education from pre-K all the way up to 12th grade, you in this new lane when I don't believe it started, you'll be able to get a vaccination. So I've already reached out to the Nevada Health District talking about how I'm a preschool teacher. Shoot me up, dog. Give me that vaccine. That would make my life so much easier.
I'm into.
That would make my life so much easier. I understand if you maybe have some reservations around the vaccine, but I still think for the vast majority of people, you should still probably fucking get it.
Look, science is saving my son, and I had the COVID, and I was lucky enough not to get it to anybody else.
Yeah.
And there was people in my house that, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fucking biologist, and I don't know really. I have a very light understanding on how viruses work, but I know I could have gotten people sick, So to me, I didn't get polio, and I know I got vaccinated for that. So that worked. Right. You know what I mean?
But like there are unfortunately stories, and like it does seem to be a very small percentage of families that do get affected by the adverse side effects of the vaccine. And it seems to me the biggest argument against the vaccines is that because it was rushed so quickly through Operation Warp Speed, we haven't been able to see the long-term effects, which might be a valid concern. However, my argument is that literally every doctor, literally every nurse I personally know is getting the fucking vaccine, wants that shit as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm going to listen to the medical professions in that regard. I'm smart enough to know when I'm not smart enough.
If you're a civilian that is concerned about the long-term effects unknown of the vaccine, then I need to have a conversation with you about how much sugar and how much fucking cigarettes and how much fucking caffeine and how much goddamn preservatives you eat in all your fucking food. Because perhaps you're on the right track, but your priorities may be a little bit tipsy-topsy.
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely.
Tipsy.
Sorry, I'm trying to look to see what would happen if he gets impeached. And it's talking a lot about how, like, it's just talking about how he may be disqualified from the benefits given following to presidents once they leave office. But it doesn't seem
really the biggest one is the Secret Service.
Which I argue that's probably the most important that he should retain.
Fuck yeah, it is. There's a lot of people that hate him. I mean, I'd be concerned with that one, because there's nothing. I don't know how the resources of a billionaire compare to the resources of the federal government when it comes to keeping you alive.
Right.
I would imagine that the federal government
probably a little bit better.
You know what I mean? Like, but I'm just a civilian here, so I don't know.
So I'm reading a Bloomberg article from 6 days ago talking about what would be the point of impeachment if by the time, because the Senate, it would have to do a Senate trial. And by the time that process would happen, I mean, his term ends in 3 days. So it's not like, typically if he were to be convicted by the Senate, he would be immediately removed from office. That's why Richard Nixon resigned. He was impeached, but he never actually got convicted by the Senate that removed him. He resigned before that could happen.
Gotcha. But there's not enough time for them to impeach him, though.
So should he
Unless they did it like on fucking Monday.
Well, it can still happen following the inauguration. It can still technically happen following the inauguration. And if it's convicted by the Senate, according to this article, senators could also choose to vote to disqualify him from serving in future federal office. And that would only take a simple majority.
Oh, shit. So that's where we're going with this. Guaranteed.
Possibly. It looks like the House has done 60 impeachment proceedings, voted to impeach 20 individuals, 15 judges, 1 senator, a cabinet secretary, and 3 presidents. Of that group, 8 judges were convicted and removed from office by the Senate. 3 of those judges were disqualified from holding office again. The last time that happened was in 2010 from a judge who was accused of taking bribery. If impeached by the House and convicted by the Senate, Trump could lose many of the benefits afforded to the former presidents. So it says experts point out that Congress could try to amend the law to make sure that Trump loses his benefits. So it truly doesn't seem like, from my reading, it seems like it's all theater. It seems like it would be all theater to do this. Because it doesn't really seem like, just by virtue of getting the conviction, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to lose all this. The Senate would have to go through more. And at that point, it just seems like theater. He's already out of office. Let's fucking do something more beneficial with our time, Congress. Come on.
Okay. Wow.
Now, if people find it to be necessary to go through this process so that he can't run for 2024, maybe that makes sense.
The other question I was going to ask you, the pardoning. Can he just pardon as many people as he wants?
That's presidential power. Yep.
So he could literally pardon everybody that got arrested in this and himself still and his whole family.
I saw maybe like a week ago that there was an argument that he was in a position, in a relative position of negotiating power with Trump or with Pence, where why not just agree with Pence that if I resign right now, you're going to give me pardons as president for me and my family. So that way there's a kind of like a second degree removal of he's not pardoning himself, he's not pardoning his family. But my understanding that he's absolutely does have that power. It's just he has 3 days to do it. And from what I've read, it seems like there's going to be a series of pardons that are coming out. Like, right, I think Lil Weezy is one of the names. There's like a couple of rappers who are potentially on the list to get pardoned. But it also feels like, right, if he was going to do it, like with Snowden and Julian Assange, wouldn't he have already done it here in the last 15 days, 10 days? So I don't know if we're going to see anything happen, right? And like, right, he did pardon Jared Kushner's dad, Charles Kushner, because his dad was already talking shit about Trump and how he was a horrible person for leading the insurrection against the Capitol. So yeah, I don't know. That might sour the taste for him to give more pardons when clearly people are already.
That's why all the like forecasting of his future endeavors has me so skeptical, because I've never seen a person of prominence that incites less loyalty in my life.
Sure. Yeah, people are jumping like rats.
Dude. Rats,
man. Fleeing the sinking ship.
I mean, even Tom Likas had fucking his diehards. And you know what I mean? Like people find Alex Jones that find unsavory or whatever. Like they have, this guy seems like there is like, he expects everybody's loyalty out of sheer admiration while doing nothing to be a redeeming human being. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. And at the same time, he basically advertises how disloyal he is historically, which is fucking nuts to me, man. Like your sons still have to live in this earth. You know what I mean, dude? Like what the fuck? So I don't know, man. I'm glad. I mean, I'm shocked. I listened to the interview about one of the Capitol police officers that was caught up in the mob, and it's fucking crazy. People need to realize, just hopeful, like the way they're playing both sides against each other is fucking nuts, man. You know, and it's working on the most volatile, less intelligent Americans. Yeah. You know, clearly. I don't know why that is. That the most volatile are the least intelligent. Like
I think you just answered your question. I mean, it's because they're the least intelligent.
Holy shit, dude.
Right? It's like Mr. Miyagi say, karate here, or karate here, karate never here.
Never here, man.
Come on,
man. My God.
Fuck. So can I hit you with my conspiracy theory?
Yes, do it.
This is right. So 3 days is the inauguration, right? I don't know. Have you seen the amount of serious defense and like fear from like any sort of thing that's going on in DC happening, right? Like they're building 12, they had 8-foot walls surrounding the Capitol. They just replaced them with 12-foot walls. DC currently has security checkpoints where your average DC citizen, resident, your average DC resident, my understanding is that they get stopped. There are locations, there's like military checkpoints where there are areas where there's some areas where you can't go through. So, apparently, the Biden transition team has a fear that there are members of the National Guard who support Donald Trump and are going to try to kill Biden at the inauguration.
Wow.
So,
you're kind of blowing my mind, dude.
So, Joe Biden and his team have already asked for the Secret Service to interview agents and actively demote ones that seem to have loyalties with Trump. This is coming from The Guardian. This is not some new like conspiracy fringe website.
Holy shit.
Pelosi is claiming that this is coming out of the Federalist, which is a Republican-leaning, a conservative-leaning news organization.
Yeah, I know.
But that doesn't mean these aren't quotes from Nancy Pelosi, bro. Right. Nancy Pelosi is stoking fears that members of Republican members of Congress are going to be bringing guns to the inauguration.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the Army absolutely has just confirmed that they're starting to screen National Guard members for support for Donald Trump. So the conspiracy is, right, the deep state, they're going to take out Biden and we're going to have Kamala Harris day one, baby. That's my conspiracy theory. Hopefully.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, I like it. I'll tell you what.
It's super heavy idea conspiracy for sure.
No, I'll tell you what. Most of the time, a conspiracy theater sounds preposterous from the second word in.
Right.
This makes perfect sense. Now, I think that if there is a deep state, which I don't discount because it makes perfect fucking sense too, they're too smart to cause the unrest that would cause at this particular time.
Yeah. Maybe.
Plus, if you can kill him now, you can kill him whenever.
Well, and like, right, like if you had to take an over-under on Joe Biden being in office 2 years from now, I'm going with the under. Personally, I'm going with the under, and I think so. And I think we'll have President Harris.
He has access to the best healthcare on earth. No other human on earth has access to better healthcare, and I think that the powers that be, whatever you think, whether it's a deep state or whatever, need a stabilizing of things, because we lived a level of unrest that is very similar. I do honestly believe that what happened was similar to Germany. I do see it that way. I think that people got lied to the point of enraging to a level that I've never seen before. And I think that we need some settling up for people to start baselining themselves again, because everybody went too hard. Everybody went too far to their thing, and the reality is that they just played into the hand of those powers.
Yeah,
you know. So
I mean, that's my conspiracy theory for that episode.
I think what's smart. I think the smart money is on stabilizing everything so that money starts flowing again.
Yeah.
How many of those powers that be are losing their dicks off here in Las Vegas?
Right.
For instance, you know what I mean? There's a lot of factors in that, you know, and you'd be surprised how many companies that are huge to us are just part of a slice of the pie of some of those powers.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, shit has to start fucking rolling again. And then we'll have disagreements, and they'll get back to a place of discord that doesn't have to be so hostile, so antagonistic, and so stunting of the fucking movement.
Right.
Because everybody stopped, not just some people. Everything stopped, you know? And the reality is that as far as I do still believe, okay, and this may be naive, I still believe that the racist whites are the minority. I do. I just think that they have the most tools to mobilize and organize and find each other than ever before. Yeah. This used to be underground blogs and websites that only some people knew, that told only some people. Yeah. Well, now it's on Twitter and it's in real time, and we are in an unprecedented time. And to correct myself and what you had said about Twitter, I support him now because I support free enterprise. But I think that if there is an argument to be had regarding that with one of the social media platforms, the beginning definitely would be Twitter.
Well, and like it's incredible to me how many other foreign country leaders looked at what happened to Trump on Twitter and were like, well, this is alarming. This is alarming. This is interesting. This is not good. Angela Merkel, Poland, Mexico. Like, it's not great. Not great, Bob. Now, I would like to counter my conspiracy theory because, I feel like we almost need like a palate cleanser. So can I tell you about this cool thing that I learned that very smart people do, like Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, as part of their process of being so creative and great?
Hit me.
So hold on, let me...
man,
no, because I'm going to mispronounce
it so well.
If I don't fucking look up the word, I'm not going to be able to pronounce it well. So hold on. Fuck, man. Hold on. It's okay. We'll just edit this part out as I search for it frantically.
I have two things that I have to bring up before we wrap.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So, like I said, oh my God, open the article. Loading my internet.
God damn, is that the computer you built all slow like that?
It's this fucking website, dog. I hate you. You're so rude. None of this will be left in the... There we go. Hold on.
You shouldn't have gone with the AMD processor, bro.
So it is pronounced... You're so stupid. You're out of your element, Donnie. You're completely out of your element. You're out of your element, buddy. You're out of your element.
Do you have an AMD processor?
Of course I do, because AMD makes the best processors right now in this day and age. In general.
Oh, yeah?
In general. Again.
I just had very bad luck with them.
Oh.
Yeah. The only ones that have gone out on
You know, you sound like
back.
what you sound like is when Ricky was telling me prior that the UFC ABC card wasn't going to be good, and Max Holloway and Calvin Guitar wasn't a main event worthy fight.
Well, that's crazy.
He's a crazy man.
No,
But
I've actually had experience with AMD fucking processors that go out on me on devices that should not.
well, let me give us
anyway,
our palate cleanser,
I
right?
digress.
So this is called the Hypnagogic, HYPNAGOGIC state. So, right, as you know, well, I don't know if you know, but sleep, when you fall asleep, you have 4 different cycles of sleeping, correct? Did you know this?
Right.
So the idea is that as you're falling asleep, you're in that first stage 1. So what Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Salvador Dali, Edison was famous for falling asleep. Same with Albert Einstein, falling asleep in their chairs in the middle of the day, taking 20, 30-minute working naps. And they would hold something in their hand. Edison had a pair of steel balls that he would hold in his hand. And as he's falling asleep, thinking kind of just abstractly about whatever problem he was facing, as he was falling asleep, his hands would relax and the balls would drop to the ground. So as he woke up and the balls dropped to the ground, he would either have, I guess back then you would have a notebook, or in current day you could have a voice memo recorder, and you would want to record whatever came to your mind in that moment, and then reassess that in a couple of days with a fresh set of brain, fresh set of eyes. That is my palate cleanser. I'm going to start trying it. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool idea. I don't take a lot of naps during the day, so I don't know how that's going to be. But
no, but so you know how I've been wearing the Whoop. I'm like on the second year of wearing the Whoop. My Whoop tracks all 4 stages of sleep as well.
Gotcha.
And there's different recovery that happens in each stage of sleep, and that's how it does its algorithm to figure that out. So that's part of my thing for this whole year, is taking care of like making sure I'm sleeping enough. And I've been changing the way that I do things around. But one of the things that I have noticed, and that I do notice that happens to me all the time, is shit that I don't understand, or that I have to figure out, like problem solving, nags me, right? Yeah. And I go to sleep thinking about it. And oftentimes the response bleeds into whatever I dream about, or something like that. But there's several things in life, creative and non-creative, that I figured out, because to me, everything's creative, because problem solving has to be creative, because it's can't solve the fucking problem. Yeah. So you know what I mean? So to me, that's no different than writing a song, or than drawing something, or
it's a creative process. It's a creative process.
Yes, it's the same thing. And because I wake up so early and I do cardio, oftentimes that mixes with a serotonin and the edibles that I eat in the morning. And a half hour into an intense cardio session, shit hits me.
Gotcha.
It's yes, it's
so it's almost like your own little version of what I just described, which I'm not going to say.
A little bit. I mean, I have woken up with the answer.
Yeah.
That, like, where it has come in my dream, like, oh my God. But oftentimes, especially with when it's more relationship based shit, or if I have to deal with a difficult customer or something like that, the answer to how to hypnagogic without feeling like I'm stifling myself, which feels like I'm swallowing fucking nails, it happens in that order. You know, like I'll think about it, I'll sleep, I'll get good rest, and then wake up so early that by the time that I almost awake and I'm running already, and then serotonin starts lacking. It's cool.
So I learned about that this week, and I thought it was really interesting, because you have these innovators, these once in a lifetime type innovators, who all seem to do the similar technique in their own different way. And I think if you can establish a pattern between these incredible minds, you should see what it's like. See what it's like for yourself. See what happens. So there you go. Here's my palette.
It's a lot. I find looking into that. I like, as you know, I like reading biographies, right? And at the time, I only wanted to know what the specific process for a specific thing was that a person took, such as like reading a guitar player's biography. I wanted to see like what path they took to do whatever it is that they did. And eventually that transformed into me realizing that the similarities that people had that have become great at something, that there's a lot of similarities in between that. And then eventually you distill it to the most successful people in the world, like Warren Buffett and like a lot of people, you know, and there's a lot more correlations like that.
Well, I mean, life is a series of patterns. If you can identify patterns that seem to be more effective, why wouldn't you want to try to establish those same patterns within your own life? That just seems sick. Makes sense.
And the thing about it is that they don't all share all of them, but they cross a lot. Like if each one has 5, there's like 3 that they share. You know what I'm saying? Like, but so here's my conspiracy. And I didn't check it before.
What do you think? Okay. I checked the conspiracy. I brought up that's the whole point of a conspiracy.
Good. So we got to look into this Beasts. Let's Google it. Because like I said, I'm not coming at this as a fact.
So is this why we need Ricky as our guy in the chair, being able to Google things and talk to us on chat while we're doing this podcast?
Maybe we do. Maybe we got to. We're going to talk about this because of the other things.
Right.
But, okay. So Susan Rosenberg.
I don't even know who Susan Rosenberg is, dude. Okay.
Sentenced to 58 years for the bombing of the U.S. Senate wing of the Capitol building in 1983. No, she serves 7 years. She's pardoned by Clinton. She's now in charge of fundraising for the BLM. How come that's not popular if it is in fact true? She's probably not on the no-fly list.
I'm on Snopes. So Snopes says this is a mixture. What's true? Susan Rosenberg has served as a vice chair of the board of directors for Thousand Currents, an organization that provides fundraising and fiscal sponsorship for the Black Lives Matter global movement. She was an active member of revolutionary left-wing movements whose illegal activities included bombing U.S. government buildings and committing armed robberies. What's undetermined? In the absence of a single universally agreed definition of, quote, terrorism, it is a matter of subject determination as to whether the actions for which Rosenberg was convicted in prison, possession of weapons and hundreds of pounds of explosive, should be described as acts of domestic terrorism. Snopes, what are we doing here, guy? Snopes, what are we doing here, B?
That's called sucking only the left nut. You gotta suck nuts. But this was only on the left.
That's crazy.
You a left testicle suckers.
Analysis. Thousand Currents is undoubtedly very close to the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, a Delaware registered entity that is one of the leading formal embodiments of the broader Black Lives Matter movement. The Thousand Currents website outlines the relationship between the two entities. Quote, in 2016, BLM approached this company to create a fiscal sponsor agreement. Because the Thousand Currents is a 501c3 organization, they're able to provide
have filters in your money transferring, of course,
work to enable BLM to fulfill its mission.
Interesting.
Well, right. I don't think this is all that crazy of a conspiracy theory, right? It's like some of the heads of like the actual BLM organization.
It's only a conspiracy because I read it on Facebook by a guy that I thought would have like been a little more radical about it. And so I was wondering because I was like, it makes sense. Again, my radar tells me makes sense, but I don't know. I got to look it up. And then when it's worded the way that Snopes words it, I'm like, I read it between the lines. So we're minimizing what this really is.
Yeah, right. Okay, and like, right, we know that there
are rounds of ammunition I have in this house.
Wait, what?
Not 100. I don't have 100 rounds.
I don't have a pound, a single pound, half a pound, a gram. I don't have a gram of explosives.
Let's talk about the other thing. Positive marijuana test.
Well, give me a second, because like, right, I just want to jump off this, like, right. We know the BLM organization, several of the original co-founders of the organizations are self-proclaimed Marxists. They call themselves Marxists.
Right?
I mean, these are quotes.
That much, and does not surprise me.
These are quotes,
but I just never looked into it. Oh,
so, and like, right, like I think a lot of, maybe not a lot, but I do think some, I would say intellectually honest conservatives are willing to make the distinction between BLM the organization and BLM the movement, because I do think there is a distinction, and I think that is the intelligent, honesty, integrity way to look at that.
Yeah, they co-opted it. Yeah.
So radicals. Yeah. So I don't know if that's really a conspiracy theory. That just, I mean, Snopes kind of confirmed
It's interesting though. Like. It's interesting though when you Snope it, you know. So the positive marijuana test no longer violates anti-doping policy.
Which, no shit.
What does that even mean? Does that mean I can smoke just not today?
So that means you can smoke at any point, just not prior to a fight.
It's bullshit, man.
Well,
I don't think that should matter.
What do you mean? It doesn't matter anymore.
Even if I smoke during the fight. If I took an edible before the fight and I whoop your ass, then what?
I think during the fight.
I mean, I'm just saying.
No, I think during the fight, I think that's a little bit more justifiable. And I think now with marijuana in the UFC, we're approaching a no shit, Sherlock. Fighters shouldn't be penalized for fucking out of competition use.
Yeah. The other one, Reinhold Dan Ige.
That's a great fight. Dude,
love
nobody
that
wants to
matchup,
fight Ryan
right?
Hall, and Dan Ige gonna come in.
Fuck yeah, he's like,
fight.
let's go, bitch. That's so tight, right?
Yeah.
I'm hyped about that fight.
And like,
I think it's so fucking cool.
Ryan Hall does not fit your stereotype idea of what a UFC fighter is.
Nope.
He doesn't. And because of his ground game, he's able to get away with some not so impressive stand up.
I love it.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good fight.
I love it. I think it's great. So, but that's it. That's all I got for this week. I love it though. Yeah. I'm excited. The year's finally like on track, I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like we're on a different track.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows where this fucking train's going, but it's different than last year's track.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's see. I just really hope nobody else fucking dies over this dumb shit.
I mean, I guess we'll have an update next week, right?
I mean, listen, wherever your particular political leanings go, I think it should be universally agreed upon. Donald Trump's not worth dying over. That's all.
Big facts, dude. No politician, not just Donald Trump. No politician.
Listen, I don't want to. Yeah, but sometimes
no person,
you insult
really.
The Rock. Exactly. Thank you.
No person.
Sometimes you insult the Rock and a 40-year-old cries. I want to just start with Donald. We'll work our way to the rest of the people.
And even with family, I mean, like some family members, we don't have to name any names, wouldn't even help a brother bury a dead body. And that's fucked up. That's fucked up. No family loyalty.
Yeah, no. But yeah, that's all I want to say is listen, wherever you believe is fine. Donald Trump's not worth dying over.
Everybody loves him.
And I think that's inarguable. With all due respect, Donald Trump's not worth dying over.
Never.
That's all I'm going to say.
Never.
I don't want to be controversial.
I don't think that's a controversial statement. I really don't. I hope it's not, at least. I hope it's not.
You never know.
I hope it's not.
You never know.
Well, this has been episode 24 of Children of the Beast. You know what this means? In 2 episodes, we have done 6 months worth of episodes.
That's very cool.
It's very exciting.
Very cool, man.
It's very exciting.
Very cool. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Thank you again for everybody for listening. Please tell a friend. If you tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends and they tell, and continuing the train, it's exponential growth, baby. That's what we need. Follow the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. The video version lives on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, do all the things that you need to do. I don't need to say this. You already know you're going to do it. You've already done it. And then you're going to go tell a friend. Thank you, everybody. Plugs, social media plugs. You can follow Carlos at Wolfchild1980, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me at Andrew_the Hut with 2 T's, Twitter, Instagram. And I'm going to start using my Twitch account a little bit more. And that's the same name, Andrew_the Hut. Come hang out with me in fights. It'll be a good time.
Well, and we're going to evolve it. Eventually, we'll do
eventually we're going to have the ability. Yeah. Eventually, we're going to have the ability to
evolve.
Like live
this is the
stream
year
and whatnot.
The beast evolves this year, motherfuckers.
We have we have something very special in the works about our visual aspect of the program that I'm very excited about that we'll be releasing here in the next week or so. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
But this
I'm working on shit. I ran behind because of the Rona, but it didn't get me down. That's the most important part.
Well, this has been the Children of the Beast. We love you, Lil Beast. Have a great rest of your day.